Right. Hello. Good evening. I won't be here long, so some of y'all probably won't even catch this. Hello. Happy Wednesday. Happy Feb. Why was I getting ready to say February? It's not February. It's September. Wow. Happy September the 20th. Yeah, today is, first of all, before I start, I'm going to try to buffer this or fluff it a little bit. First of all, today is a really powerful day because there is a repeating series of twos, and those energies and vibrations of the number two represents crossroads, represents pathways, represents a lot. Okay. So those numbers are very powerful in a repeating fashion, the way that they are. Okay. So happy September the 20th. 2023 to y'all. Okay. So I wanted to just come real quick and give this bit of advice for generational curse clients if you're getting it removed or reversed. So let me get into, first of all, describing what a generational curse is and how you end up getting one. Generational curses can either be created out of the evil eye. This is when your family members are against one another, or either there are certain people that are against other people, or there's teams and cliques in your family. Um, and basically, it's all about I've got to prove that I'm better and at the detriment of you. It doesn't matter what happens to you. It's really like a family psychosis, okay? That has a lot of root in narcissism. Um, and so that's one way. And then the other one is generational curses from like just throughout the generations. Both are bad. There's not one that is better than the other. Both can lead to a lot of heartbreak and broken dreams and problems and health issues and financial issues and just general misery in life. Okay. So basically, what happens with these generational curses is that there are some of your family members that are either subconsciously or either just blatantly. And then, especially if you have a family of either witches, or if it's not witches, it can be spiritual gifts, a bunch of negativity, manifesting negativity for one another through various thought processes, words, and then sometimes it could just be blatant witchcraft. Okay. Hello, Natalie and 1EQ. Hello. So this is something that is continuously pushed in the family. It's something that, and it's a very powerful psychosis to where people won't even be realizing that they're doing it, but sometimes they do. Sometimes they do realize that they are bringing destruction into the lives of their family members. And this has been something that has been talked about a lot, and it is of a great concern, especially the past 3 years because of this pandemic. People really found out. They messed around and found out how serious it is. Okay. And there and I know that there's quite a few of you. You guys want that ritual so bad because it is very powerful. It is. Okay. And some of you guys are worried about affordability, and that's understandable. But listen, the number one cardinal rule in that is that you have to distance yourself from those family members that are cursing you. themselves and everybody else in the family. You cannot continue a relationship, a close tie with those people, at least until you get on your feet. You can't do it. You've got to be able to take some time away. Now, there are some of you guys that are dependent on those people. And then a lot of the times, those people are dependent on government and things of that nature. And it's very, very hard. You have to find the light. Okay. You have to find it. And whatever it is that you're doing, I know that for me, I was extremely grateful to have had at least the positive influences of not committing crimes or breaking the law. So I was able to utilize housing assistance, okay, before I was able to independently walk away from that, okay, so that I can move forward to my dream of home ownership, which is land ownership, okay? Even though we have to pay taxes on it, a lot of people don't like that, but I think that that's better than nothing. Got to take the good and the bad as far as like what you can get. But and yeah, there's oh man, it's a trip, but I'm appreciative. I'm hopeful and on point with what I'm doing, okay, to work towards that goal. Um, Often, a lot of people that come from bad blood and bad family, often it's financial difficulty, filing bankruptcy, just the energy, the aura, your auric field is completely just not where it needs to be so that you can even think enough to manifest. But and this can be extremely difficult for some clients and it takes them longer. Here's the reason why, though, you have to distance yourself, in especially physical distance. And that's why I believe that the pandemic happened for a reason, because it forced people to social distance, even from family. Okay, even though there was negative stuff that came out of that, and being forced to do that social distancing really, really, I hope, helped a lot of people get some kind of clarity, because the problem is that when you go, first of all, I don't understand. I mean, I understand wanting to make things right with people, but family typically has been there since you were born. You grew up with these people. Either if they're elder, they saw you when you first came out, they knew you was coming. If it's a cousin or a brother or sister, you grew up with that person. Okay. So there's no excuse. Family is too important for you to stay around somebody that is bringing destruction into your life. It's way too closely knit. It's way too easy to tip the scales of balance when it comes to family. Okay. Somebody else that is outside of your bloodline, that's a totally different thing. That does not mean that because coming from that kind of family, you are automatically going to have troubled relationships. Your relationships are going to be troubled. We're talking about being in their presence. So, pretty much what I would suggest, if you have like an entire family and y'all like, yeah, we all got some messed up stuff, what I would suggest is that everybody that is closely knit in your family from each household, go ahead and separate for a while, work on yourself, do the shadow work, do the banishings of those demons and stuff and those entities that are creating those strongholds. Do what you have to do separately. right? But that's very rare, very, very rare, if not non existent. That never happens because people are creatures of habit. They have their crutches and they're going to keep them. So if you have made the decision, I want to better myself. I don't want to sit around these people that have nothing but negative things happening to them. They do not want to empower themselves. They do not want to do anything about it. They just want to project it here, there, and everywhere. And then what I've noticed is with generational curses is that children end up being attacked because they feel as though the children are more resilient so they can handle their people in general have a bad habit of projecting their identities to other people instead of improving themselves. Okay. So that's just in general. And that's a subconscious way of coping and being in denial. So when you are around a family member, like an uncle, a brother, a parent, that cannot face themselves and they constantly have to project that negativity to you. So you're already dealing with your own stuff, your own person. You're already dealing with maybe past life trauma, current trauma. And while you're trying to deal with that, you may have a person that either has it out to get you blatantly and overtly, but it could be covertly because covert narcissism, that covert curse passing and affliction, it is typically created out of the subconscious. This is where a person literally is habitual about doing something and they usually don't know that they're doing it. So yeah, they don't know. Yeah, but they're still doing it and it's still harming you. It's still harming you. Okay? Which is why a lot of people will say I'm not going to tell them. I'm not going to tell them. That is because when you tell them your good news or when you tell them things that are happening with you, they will either do one or two things. They will make those things worse or they will try to sabotage. Okay? So, this is the reason why it is important while you're in the process of breaking those chains to distance yourself. You have to, because when you're around that person, what are they going to do? They're going to constantly afflict you, they're going to constantly pass that virus, is what I call it. They're going to constantly pass that to you. Everybody on this planet is not going through that. There are families that don't do that. You're not one of them. You quit being a wannabe and do something about it. Your family is not like those other people's family. I've heard people complain about the smallest things about their family, and it's like, yeah, no, like you just don't know. You're very lucky. You're very lucky because there's some people who have been told they're nothing. You're nothing. You're never going to amount to nothing. You're just like everybody else in this family. You're nothing. We have nothing. There's nothing you can do about it. If they're not being told that blatantly and outwardly, they're being told that it's the consciousness of the family. This is the sickness that they have. If you are the only one, or maybe there's other people in the family that have said, oh wow, what's happening here? I need to break free of this because and see, destruction is powerful on its own. So even if you have 3 to 4 to 5 members of your family, it's usually a few elders and a few younger people. At that time and space, they are going through what they're going through, right? And it could be very long term. And as soon as you get up and you decide, I want to do this, they are in their low place and they're not doing anything. They have no hope. They have no nothing. They feel like it's totally destroyed and they feel like there's nothing that they can do about it. They have no guidance, no light, no nothing. They're going to project that to you. So they've already been projecting that to you. That is the energy. They don't have the ability to transmute it. right? So you understand that and you've noticed that. And it's not necessarily that you're blaming that person for your problems, but think about it. If your mama and your daddy and your brother and your sister and your cousins, and they all very negative and toxic, and they all look at you and they cannot stand the fact that you have some kind of self esteem, you have some kind of knowledge, and you're using it and you're planning, or either you're planning on using it. If they are in a toxic place, they will start to talk about you either in your face or behind your back. They will have you a part of that consciousness, and then they will start blocking your path or throwing obstacles because they want to prove, first of all, it's they want to prove that they're right. They've, especially when it comes to elders and the changing times, okay, when it comes to them, especially if you come from certain racial groups, I mean, keep in mind that it was just in the 1940s or 50s, if you're a black person, you were not allowed in certain businesses or establishments. A lot of our elders went through that, and it was very traumatic, and whatever was happening at home led to even more trauma. And then when they started having their children and their children started having their children, it kept getting passed down to where they felt, well, I went through it, so you have to go through it. But if you have a really good elder, they're going to want to see you do better. But the problem with the elders is that they don't want to see the younger generations do better. They don't want them to have better. Okay. And so that goes with any racial group. It can go with any racial group, but especially if you are African American. I'd say that generational curses is still affecting probably like 80 to 90% of Black people. And they facilitate it to themselves. They tell themselves that they can't make a difference in their life. They tell themselves that there's no opportunities for themselves out there. They tell themselves that they don't belong in this world. They pretty much self inflict themselves a lot, and they give up before they even try. And they are given a crutch. The art or the magic or the rite of ritual has been lost for sometimes several generations in your family. So, for example, a lot of y'all have Native American roots. Um, Native Americans did rituals. They had their ritual ground areas and stuff. And so that's how they took care of things. If that has been lost throughout the generations, then you're not going to have that exist anymore. Instead, rituals are of destruction are being done. So it's almost like kill switch. I'm just, you ever hear those stories about a father or a mother that gets overwhelmed and they just say, screw it. I can't do this. I give up in a moment of being emotional or either possessed, and they just off their whole family and do crap like that, stupid stuff like that, because they don't see any other way out. It's the same thing, only it's very subtle and it's a soft kill. Then you also have the curses of patriarchy in your family, which is really, really horrific. Okay. So there's different ones. Some of y'all, it's been doubled down. Somebody had a drug problem. Okay. Drug addiction can devastate an entire family, especially if you come from an already marginalized group of people. The last thing that you need in your family is somebody doing drugs. That is the worst thing that can happen. It opens up nothing but portals of destruction, which is why people often cut ties with people that abuse drugs. And it's not anything personal, it just is what it is. Okay. I personally have done spiritual research on different drugs. Things like mushrooms can be healing to some people, not everybody. Marijuana, even spirits or alcohol. Okay, this is why these things are being legalized and being recognized. Other drugs that we know for sure will never be legalized ever. This from the spiritual research that I have done is that the combo, the magic behind those combinations of those materials, those elements that they are using to make that particular drug is connected to something that is above and beyond this world. And people don't even realize it. So that within itself is pretty bad. Okay. So there's many, many, many different aspects of it. And you don't just have to be strong, you have to be wise. You don't just have to be wise, but you have to give yourself self care. Love yourself. You have to be, listen, especially if you have children, you have to say, hey, I need to do this for me and my family. You cannot carry everybody on your back. And see, for me, and it's not everybody. You can't carry everybody's baggage. If people want to choose to have baggage, if people want to choose, everybody has choices. So, for example, I just did a ritual tonight where, there were certain members of my family. There was a new addition of my family. I sent protections to those people. My cousin just gave birth to another baby. Love her to pieces. She's protected. Can you protect and heal somebody that doesn't want it? No, you can't, especially if somebody's trying to do harm. So, and as a high priestess, I do have a responsibility, but especially my children are first. They come first because those are my children and I am a grandmother. Okay. But when it comes to other family members that I love, these family members I'm close to them, you know what I'm saying? And they're not harmful to me. So I do protect my family members that I know are not trying to do harm to me. Okay. Am I trying to harm anybody in my family that I feel is subjugating and oppressive to me? No, but I will protect myself. I will ward their negative energy off. I'm not going to accept it because you know what? Especially when it comes to women and children, we are way too vulnerable. So I'm not going to put a grown man or a grown woman in front of me and my babies who are very vulnerable. I can't do that, especially if they are trying to snake me behind my back. That's not what it's supposed to be. So that's being very foolish. Okay. So these rituals that we're doing, it's not harming them, it's liberating you. They don't want you to be liberated from that because they never believed that they could. And then especially if everybody over the age of 40 done gave up on life. They said this is the way that it is and I'm just going to stick with it. And that's not the way it should be. Okay? Shouldn't be that way. Just because you turn 40 or 35 doesn't mean, oh, it's all over. No, I don't even know where that ideology came from. Okay. So you have to take time to yourself and you do have to cloak yourself. You do have to protect yourself. You cannot go to the family reunion if you are currently, like, for example, if I do that ritual for you today and oh, it's a family reunion next week and we're going to have potato salad and ribs and we're going to do a shrimp boil and a seafood boil. You can't go to that. You have to sit that one out. You have to distance yourself because you know that all of the main characters are going to be there. Okay. And everybody has their own little way of doing rituals on other people. So you already know. So that is the number one cardinal rule. They invite you. No, I'm gonna sit this one out. Why? Why? They always, well, I'm working on something important. Just tell them I'm writing a book. I'm writing a book right now. Okay. Inventing something. Oh, what you inventing? I'm not saying nothing. I'm not saying nothing. Y'all got to learn how to put up boundaries. Y'all feel compelled to tell these people everything and to open up. And that's not the truth. That's not the definition of family. It's not. They should respect your privacy and they should respect your space and they should respect your wishes. Nobody in your family should be subjugating you or trying to enslave you. Okay. Now, those of you that come from like a slave family to where it's a lot like, oh my God, you're almost a slave, especially for y'all. And they will look for you. They'll come by your house. We on our way to the family room. Come on. Come on. You going, girl. Come. No, I'm not. Girl, we're gonna have fun though. No, I told you I had something to do. Something, and then they'll go to the family reunion and talk about you. Something wrong with her. I think she depressed. Hold on real quick, y'all. Okay, yeah, I'm back. So again, it just is necessary for the process. It really is. And you know what? It is very, this is another thing I wanted to talk about. When you distance yourself from family, it is very, very common for them to stalk you. Okay. This is a sign whenever a family member is stalking you and contacting people and getting people to come after you. This is a for sure sign of demonic possession. Okay. uh, Family members do not have the right to stalk you. Just because they're family doesn't mean they have the right to stalk you. I saw a post probably like several years ago on Facebook where some angry mother had made a post, saying that, oh, you're my child. If I want to stalk you, I will stalk you to the end of the world. You can't do anything about it. You're my child. And you know what? As a mother, I feel her on that. But if for any reason, any of my children, I am a mother of four, okay? For any reason, if my children felt the need to distance themselves from me, I'm going to respect their wishes. Okay. Now, my children, I don't have that issue. Okay. But if they did that, something is wrong. Okay. Either something is wrong with something's going on in their lives, or either it may be something that you have done. And so this is something to where I can promise you that, and people have debated about this a lot. This has been a huge debate. Okay. And the debate is, do especially when it comes to your parents, do they have to take responsibility for mistakes that they made? you know if your parent had self-loathing, and yeah, they did take care of you, okay, thank you. But if they got up and went to work every day, and yes, they took care of you, yes, they did, okay, thank you, I appreciate that. But if they come home every day and all they have to say is negative things all day, every day, what do you think that is doing to your brain? So, this is the reason why we have the phenomenon of, people being, subject, people's kid, your children saying, hey, you may have done that, but that was not the only element, because it is very self depreciating. Teaching you to say self destructive words, saying self destructive words to you. And so now, as an adult, your mind is programmed with this. Now, you can quickly get that programming out. You can quickly, because it's programming. Okay. It's programming. The words that they said to you your whole life programmed you and how you think. Okay. Maybe they hated their life. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they were depressed. Maybe they were. It doesn't mean that you have to be disrespectful to them. That's not what that means. That says, hey, I heard these negative things my entire life, and I get it. And now I am trying to transmute it or clear it out of my head. They shouldn't have no issue with that. So it's something that you really can't discuss with them. You can't even really discuss it with them because they wouldn't understand it. Okay. They want to, but they will do everything in their power once you do discuss it with them to try to prove that no, there was no way that I could have done better and been healthier or overcame some of the tragedies. So I'm going to prove this because I went through that. And when I went through that, everything was destroyed for me. So I have to prove that what you're doing is not going to help you. So I'm going to prove this. So this is the basis of a lot of people that are your enemies. Right. That's just like, with anything, with any situation. If their situation didn't work out, they don't want yours to work out. If they were not able to overcome something, they don't want you to overcome it. Okay, because people hold on to stuff forever. Like I said, if they went through something and you're currently going through it, they may even facilitate you going through it. They want that thing to destroy you in some kind of way and mess you up, just like it destroyed them. The problem is that a lot of y'all are in y'all late 30s and early to mid 40s. You don't have time to be derailed that way. You've already been derailed many, 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 many times. When you get to be older, it's kind of like, wait a minute, like what? So you find that you're going through these negative cycles over and over and over again. And it is something that you can do about it. Okay. Do I have something on my site, tell all for clients so they can have a vent, let go session? Miss Laverne Cheesecake, I really don't like venting. It's good for you to do that, but that would be like a reading for you to tell me about, are you talking about a reading, or are you talking about like for clients to leave comments, or testimonials? So I listen, if you need to vent, it's really, and even as somebody, because I don't always do this, but if I have something that I need to vent about, then I clearly need to channel that energy instead of venting, because venting helps, but not really. You need to, like, there needs to be some kind of intent connected to that action. If you're like, for example, if somebody irritates me on, YouTube, and I come on here and I speak about it, my intention is to liberate myself from whatever that person is trying to do. As long as you have an intention to liberate yourself, then that's fine. Otherwise, you're just crying. Okay. No, not really. No, Miss Laverne Cheesecakes. I don't, nah, no. But I will tell you that if you can prepare for your consultations, by taking spiritual baths, you can prepare for those, like getting some sage, and just the sage sticks. You can get those from, I think they sell those at Walmart now. You can get a sage stick, get you some salt, some bay leaves, and just take a few baths, you know what I'm saying? And I have spiritual bathing instructions up on the website. I'm sorry, not, you know what, that's a good, that's a good thing for me to do. I need to maybe put my bathing instructions on the website. I actually have bathing instructions on YouTube. So I'll try to post it to the community wall, the bathing instructions. What that says to me, what you're asking me, is that there's a lot of negativity and maybe trauma and pain that you need to release, right? And so I don't prefer for you to necessarily release that on me, because when you come to get a consultation, you have the clarity to where you're ready to do something about it. You're ready to listen to the game plan as far as what we're going to do, as far as what I can do. You see what I'm saying? You can, and so it's best for you to release a lot of that, whenever you guys are taking a bath, you are factually releasing. Okay. Especially if you are using something like Epsom salt, you're going to be releasing things out of every organ in your body. Okay. And so just take some spiritual baths. That to me would be more therapeutic, because here's the thing about it with me. I'm a Cancer, right? So for me, I like to solve problems. I don't like to harp on problems. I like to solve them. I like to find a solution to the problems, right? So if you're just venting to me, I'm gonna say, whoa, 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 hold up. Let me say this. I'm gonna stop you from venting, and I'm gonna say, here's the solution to that. Here's the solution to that. Here's what you need to do about that. I'm not gonna sit and just be like, oh, go ahead and let it out. See, I'm not an energy vampire. If I were an energy vampire, that would be perfect, but I'm not. Okay. Now, when you guys are getting your readings and consultations, I do let y'all talk. But if I feel that you guys are going in a tailspin and that kind of like that, you know, because y'all be wanting to get it out, like I understand that. That's important for you to do that. But you sometimes when you are doing that, it is factually putting you in that box again because but yeah, if I like I said, if I were an energy vampire, boo, I would just be like, just, you know, but I'm not, you know, I'm um you know, i I like to come up with a solution, you know. And a lot of people have compared empaths to energy vampires, and I don't I don't agree with that because, you know, and I'm gonna tell you from my perspective, I have always felt like people's dumping ground. I have always felt that way. That any mistakes a person made, even people that have committed crimes, you know, somehow they were able to scapegoat on me. And so it's not about being able to vent, because venting, it's good to do that, but you have to learn how to channel it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's with me, your experience with me is going to be more so education, enlightenment, and game plan. What's the game plan? What are we going to do? Okay. So, you know, it's more so God, I wish I could find the correct word as far as like what I'm looking for to describe it. You're going to put things into perspective. Okay. You're going to be able to have clarity on that because sometimes when it comes to venting, especially if it's okay, I'm very empathic, I'm very understanding. There are some people that have had things that have happened to them that they have never gotten over, ever. And I think that people can heal from anything. For me, everything is possible. That thing that you went through when you were 5 years old or 10 years old or whatever you went through, you can heal from that and you can have freedom from that. And so, if it's something that's hurting you or harming you, for me, my job is to educate you on how to stop it from doing that to you. Okay. For example, if there's a negative memory that you have, okay, from your childhood, if there's a negative memory, okay, it's different for different people, but those negative memories are connected with spirits. Okay. And that's just a fact. So it's not just about law of attraction for me. um it's and it's never been, okay, but it's not just about that, but a lot of your negative experiences were connected with spirits, okay, malevolent spirits. So if you're dealing with a negative memory, then more than likely that spirit is still with you. If it's not the spirit, then it's the negative energy. Yes, energy can be either destroyed or transmuted. It can be. If it is a negative memory that has kept you sick and kept you down your whole life, you have every right to do whatever you want to do with it. Now, of course, there's certain things that people don't want to let you forget. And y'all know I have a theory, especially when it comes to black peoples. I feel that the constant reminder of enslavement in America is bad for our people. A lot of people won't think that that makes sense, but I can promise you that probably it's, that wisdom that I'm saying right now is going to start spreading like a wildfire. Is it important to me for do I feel that they should teach about slavery in schools? Who is that benefiting? Are they teaching it in schools because they want people to have empathy for us for that? But can you imagine being a Black person? I don't want to walk through life with people feeling sorry for me. I want to be respected. I don't want that stigmatization constantly on me. In fact, even though we know that certain things still go on globally, I don't need to think about African American people being slaves every day. I don't need to do that. For what? So that's my personal opinion about it, and it's not a popular opinion. I believe it's very self-depreciating, and trust me, I'm a past life expert. That's one of my expertises, and yes, I have had a past life as a slave, but then again, I've also had a past life as a slave master. Okay? So what you're having happening like globally, I'm gonna tell y'all what's happening. Globally, we are all in one big past life regression globally. This is the reason why lessons that we learned 5,000 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, or even 5 billion years ago still afflicts us. This is why. You can't change the whole world. The whole world would have to learn about past life regression, spiritual work. They're not going to do that. So the only thing you can do is what you can do about your own personal space and your family and the people around you. Otherwise, you can't change the whole world. Okay, you're going to martyr yourself trying to do that. The whole thing with, witches being hunted, and feeling like this is like another crusades here lately, only it's more so mental. That's a past life regression based upon the times and the understanding back then. Everybody's stuck in, a lot of people are stuck in I'm not stuck in the past, but like the people around you, they're stuck in the past. That's what keeps you stuck, and that's what keeps you from progressing. I don't want to make anybody feel like I'm judging them, because I'm not. I'm trying to help you. If when you think about it, when you okay, I don't base my whole life based upon the tarot, but I love the tarot. I always will. Okay. But I am a Cancer. I'm on the cusp of Gemini, but I am a Cancer. I have Cancer in one place in my chart, but that's my sun sign. Cancer is the Chariot. What is the Chariot all about? The Chariot is all about progression. So I can't help but to feel that way. Yes, everybody needs time to heal. But if you haven't healed in a certain time frame, you need to explore why. There could be like so many things that could be hindering your healing. It's like cutting yourself in a wound. Just it never heals later. It keeps opening up. And so being that I am like that, and people that obviously they don't want to heal, because healing can be hard. It's not always easy. It's easier for my clients. Let me throw in a shameless plug here. Um, my clients heal very easily from those afflictions, but it's because of what I teach them and what I do for them. So that's why if you've never been a client of mine, you would have no idea. You would have absolutely no idea how my spirits work and how my energy works. Okay. So anyway, I didn't plan on being here that long, and I'm going to let you guys go because I know that some of y'all want to go to sleep. I will see y'all later. Remember the cardinal rule, man. Look out for self. You do have to look out for yourself at some point. At some point, you can't just always be somebody's crutch. They need to go get a set of crutches. You have to separate yourself so that you can build and develop and have growth in your life. Otherwise, paying for a generational curse reversal is not going to do you any good. It's going to take it'll manifest, but it's going to take longer. You're going to see a slower progression of where you're trying to go. So you have to, even if it's this meditation that I offer, but I still think that sometimes just distance, physical and emotional distance is what's required. You have to do it. If you can't get physical distance, then you need to then you really need some help. If you can't get that physical distance, and you need to talk to somebody, because it's going to take forever for you to break free, and then you're going to end up being inconsolable. And God knows we already have enough inconsolable spirits on this planet. Goodness gracious. So anyway, it tasted kind of good. I will see you guys later. Okay. Love you too, sis. Thank you so much for coming. For those of you in the chat, make sure that y'all hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. And oh, here's another thing. Don't feel embarrassed about your, like, I understand, like, you can talk to me about anything. Trust me, I done heard it all. Okay, and we do need to get more people. My spirits want more people getting those generational curse reversals. They do. Good night, Sherry. They do. It's yeah. It's we can't avoid it anymore. And people get scared when I talk about that. Codependent people. They feel, oh my God, I'm gonna lose my slave. Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my crutch. Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my scapegoat. Okay. All right, guys. Y'all have a good one. Blessings. Bye.